With my own eyes, countless times I have seen that people are crazy about learning new words when they try to learn English. I don't know if it is different for you, but people love this process. Yet, when it comes to using those new words when they are speaking or when they are writing, people fail. They can't recall those words when they need them. In this video, we're going to discuss why this is happening and how we can solve this problem. If you don't know me yet, my name is Mert Maral. I am not a native speaker. In the beginning of 2023, I have intensely started learning English, and through this YouTube channel, I help people about becoming fluent in this language and using English to change their lives. And I want to start with one simple question to this video. Does learning new vocabulary important? Yeah, actually it's important, because it's the key of a precise speech. If you don't know the necessary vocabularies, you can find yourself that you are saying 5 to 10 different words to describe one situation. But if you know the necessary vocabulary, you can say that situation by using one simple word. This is the key of a precise speech, and knowing the necessary vocabularies is going to give an exactness to your speech, which is a good thing. But I want to warn you, if you are a new English learner, don't get obsessed with learning new vocabs, but also don't completely skip it at the same time. You want to find the sweet spot where you can sustain this habit for months after months. And I could suggest you that learning 1 to 5 new vocabs per day could be a good starting point. And know that there are two types of vocabularies. First one is active vocabs, second one is passive vocabs. Let's talk about the passive vocabs first. Passive vocabularies are the ones that we know their meaning, but we can't use them when we are speaking or writing because we can't recall those vocabularies when we need them. And active vocabularies are the ones that we can use them without having a problem when we speak and when we write, and they are the ones that we want to build because they are the ones that making our speech more precise and giving a sophistication to our English. And know that nearly actually always, passive vocabularies are bigger, larger than active vocabularies. This is even true for your native language, but we want to build up our active vocabulary list, not passive one. And you should be aware of the 3 most common mistakes English learners do when they try to learn a new language. First one is trying to learn too many words in a short period of time. Second one is trying to learn the words that you don't need. And third one is trying to learn the words that you don't know how to use. We are going to avoid these 3 mistakes, and we are going to follow another 3-step process when we try to learn new vocabs. And they are discovery, practice, and review. From now on, everything I'm going to say will be named under these 3 strategies because this is basically the process of learning new vocab. So let's start with discovery part. Have you ever experienced such a thing like you randomly learn a new vocabulary, you think that you got this vocabulary, and 5 minutes later, you completely forget what you have learned? I think everybody experienced this, including you and me, and one of the major reasons of this poor fact is you learn a new vocabulary that basically you don't give a fuck about. You don't care about it. You are not somehow emotionally connected to that new vocabulary, and this is why you forget it. Let me tell you one simple fact. If you are not emotionally connected with the things you learn, it's impossible for you to learn those things. Because for our brains, if there are no emotions, it basically means that they are boring things for our brains, and boring equals forgetting. So you should somehow emotionally be connected with the things you learn. Let me give you a couple of examples. Imagine that you are in a different country and you are traveling there, okay? You lost your way back home or your hotel. Next time, when you are leaving your home or hotel, you are gonna learn every single related vocabulary with your hotel or with your room, even though you are not aware of which language is being spoken in that country, because there is emotion of fear. Or imagine that you are reading something that gives you tons of joy. You are going to learn every single related vocabulary and terminology with that topic because there is simply emotion of joy. But if you're a 35-year-old woman walking on the streets and randomly you see an advertisement when you are walking and it's about razor blades for beards, okay? Somehow you learn a new vocabulary from that advertisement. 5 minutes or maybe 10 minutes later, you're gonna forget it because you are not emotionally connected to that vocab. Does it make sense? So our first lesson is this: we should learn English through the things that matter to us. Let me tell you one quick story. I remember when I was at 7 years old, I was at the first grade of the school and we were having English classes. And I remember one of the first things we learned in those English classes were the names of the animals living in zoo. And I remember we learned the word crocodile. You know, crocodile, the animal. So the question is this: how many times on earth are you gonna use the word crocodile? Let me tell you, 5, maximum 10 times in your whole lifespan. And even in your native language, you are not gonna use this vocabulary for more than 100 times. So why the fuck we'll learn the word crocodile in school instead of learning something more practical? This is why I say fuck the school and fuck the language courses and fuck the grammar books, because they fill our brains with tons of bullshit instead of teaching us some practical stuff. Some stuff that we are gonna use in our everyday lives and we are gonna literally benefit from those things. And this is the reason why these kind of things make me angry, because I wasted 12 years in school when I was going to English classes just to see that I know nothing about English when I graduate from school after 12 years. And still, today I see that my friends go to language courses for 6 months, for 1 year, for 2 years, just to see that they can't learn English because they are getting exposed to the same wrong methods like learning the word crocodile in the language school. Nothing has changed. So this is why learn English through the things matter to you. And the second thing I want to say is we want to learn new vocabs in a context. Because if we don't learn them in a context and if we learn them separately, we can't create the connections, the other words that we already know, and thus we can't create the necessary neural connections in our minds as well. Because we want to understand that how this vocabulary, this new one, is related with the other ones that we already know, how we can use them in sentences, how we can use them in phrases, etc. If we don't do that, we are gonna forget the new vocab because our brains are not working like learn this new vocab and then learn the other one and with your imagination connect two of them together and create a phrase. No, it's not like that. We should learn them in phrases and in sentences. We are gonna focus on this thing more in the practice part, so stay tuned. And the other thing I want to say about discovery part is, if you are able to understand at least 80% of this video without having a major problem, it's time for you to cut all your relation with all the other languages you know and start learning English with English. Only with English, no exceptions. When you try to learn a new word, you should type down to Google, define X, define that particular vocabulary, like define pen, okay? The Google is gonna give you a definition from Oxford Dictionary and you want to read that definition from Oxford Dictionary and you want to see the related sentences, example sentences given by Google, because this is another way of learning the vocab in a context. And if you want, you can click the images button to see the related images because they are also going to help you to learn the vocab more. But you never ever want to translate the new word into your native language or to any other language. Never ever do that, because if you do that, you can't learn to think in English. And a simple fact for you is this: if you don't know how to think in English, you can't become fluent in this language. Period. And by using these methods, you can build your passive vocabulary list. But remember, we want to build our active list, not the passive ones. So this is why we should practice these words, and this brings us to the practice part of the video. So far, you have encountered the word and you have learned the definition from Oxford Dictionary or any other English dictionary. Now it's time for you to write down your own definition of the word. You should use your own words. It doesn't have to be too long. You can use 3, 5, maybe 10 words to describe that new word. If you can't write down your own definition of the word, it means that you haven't learned it in the first place. You should go back, you should check the definition again, and you should try to understand from scratch that what is the meaning of this new vocab. And when you do that, then again, come back later and try to write down your own definition of the word. If you can do that, good. Now it's time for you to write down 5 personal sentences by using that new vocab. This personal part is important because if you don't write down personal sentences, some real things that come in from your own life, those words are not gonna stick to your brain. If you don't have a brother, don't write down sentences about your brother, okay? If you have a sister, then write down sentences about your sister by using that new vocab. Writing down 5 personal sentences is important from 3 major aspects. First one is, when you write down personal sentences, you bring the emotions into the game. And remember, if there are not emotions, our brains will just see that this information is boring and it will forget them. This is why I'm telling you to write down personal sentences, because you want to play with the emotions. Second aspect is, when you use those vocabularies in a sentence, you take them from the passive list, you put it into work, and you make them active. And the third aspect is, when you use those vocabs in a sentence, you create connections with the other words that you already know, and you use them in a context. And remember, this is how we can create the necessary neural connections in our brain if we truly want to learn that new vocab. So this is why writing down 5 personal sentences is a so powerful method. If you want to build up your active list, you shouldn't skip this part. And this brings us to the review part, the third part of the video. So far, you have learned the definition of the word, you have used it in your own personal sentences. Now you should every now and then review that vocab. Honestly, if you're a constant reader and listener in English, this is the best thing you can do, and this is the best way of learning new vocabs, because if you're a constant reader and a listener in English, you will constantly get exposed to new vocabs from different sources, like from different books, podcasts, YouTube videos, and this and that. And this is how, as time passes by, you can naturally and gradually build up your vocab list, because when you learn a new vocab, when you learn the word pen, yes, maybe the first time it's going to be hard for you to remember it, but the more you get exposed to the word pen through different resources, of course you are going to learn it, even if you don't learn it. But if you want to make this process faster and stronger, the thing you should do is using an application like Anki, or maybe even creating your own flashcards about that new vocab. And on the 1st, 3rd, 5th, 7th, 14th, and 30th days, reviewing those vocabs. This is called as spaced repetition technique, and scientifically proven that it really helps you to learn and memorize new vocabularies more. So, at the end of the day, as I told you, don't get obsessed with learning new vocabs, but don't skip it completely at the same time. Know that it's gonna take time, because every great thing in life takes time, and learning a language is not an easy thing, dude. If there are some people telling you that, oh, learning a language is too easy, tell them to just fuck off, okay? Because it's not easy, really. It takes time. And success in everything, including learning languages, takes time, effort, consistency, and patience. So take your time and keep working on these kind of things. And know that building your active list is harder than building your passive list. But active list is the one that we are gonna use and we are gonna need. So this is why keep building your active list, and know that every great thing in life takes time to build, once again. And if you follow hard things, if you pursue hard things in life, in the future, your life is gonna be easier. But if you follow easy things today, if you pursue easy things today, your life is gonna be harder in the long run. So don't follow easy things today. Instead, follow hard things. Delay your gratification. And if you want to hear more tips and tricks about learning English language, keep following this channel. That's it for today's video. As always, I want to thank you for watching me in this video. If you like what I'm talking on this channel, you can subscribe to my channel, like my videos, and share it with your friends and with your loved ones. If you do those kind of things, you'll support me. That's the obvious part, but it's going to be beneficial to you as well, because if you do those kind of things, the YouTube algorithm is going to show you more similar videos like this one. We hope that more educative and entertaining ones. You can learn many things from them, and you can enjoy them later. Other than that, if you have something to say to me, we can meet with you at the comments down below. But if no, I'm gonna see you in the next video on the next week, and until that time, take care.